So good morning, everyone. It's so good to see you all. Some new friends, some friends I've had for a long time, some people I'm just meeting today. Really good to have you all here. So good morning. Before we get started, I just want to acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territories of the First Nations and Native American peoples. So I know my dad and Dad's in the house, and we are here in Vancouver on the land of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations. But happily, we have folks from all over this morning. And so many of you are on the land of other nations. So would you like to name those nations now, either in the chat or just speak them into the group now? So great. Thanks for sharing. Coast Salish, Comox, lots of places. And always, let's just remember our connection to our siblings in these nations. And let's pray for the day in which we might be with them in right relationship. So, welcome. Welcome to Living Interfaith. Know that the whole of you is welcome. You're not asked to leave who you are in your own homes. Instead, please bring who you are in with you. But what you are asked to remember is that everyone else around you here has brought who they are in with them as well. And all of goodwill are welcome. And now when you're ready, Bruce and Cheryl are fantastic musicians, and they have a song for us.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come, come, whoever you are, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, come yet again, come, come, whoever you are, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, come yet again, come.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bruce and Cheryl. So I have a few announcements. The first announcement is it's nearing the end of the year. So around this time every year, we remind folks that if you're not a member, but you'd like to be a member of our organization, then we would love to have you join us. So I think right now we're up to about 40 members, which is very exciting. And we have very rigorous credentials in order to become a member. You have to say that you want to be, and you have to donate at some point $5 as a minimum in order to become a member. And then if you'd like, you can be added to our contact sheet. We have a shared spreadsheet where people put their information in there, whatever information they'd like. And then if you don't want to be on there at all, you don't have to be. But then the idea is then we can be in touch with each other because we always see ourselves as a kind of hub where we can bring together people from all different faith traditions. So we can learn about each other, get to know each other, and hopefully develop relationships and become friends. And so that way, if you meet someone else here and they say something, you're like, oh, we have a lot in common, or I'd love to hear more about that. Then you'll have some way that you can either email them or call them or build up that relationship. So hopefully over time, we can get to know each other better. So if you don't think you're a member yet, but you're interested, then let me know. You can just write it in the chat, or you can email me at livinginterfaithsanctuary@gmail.com. And yeah, we'd love to have you join our group. And hopefully we can build up more of those relationships over time. My next announcement is this coming Thursday at the Massey Art Society here in Vancouver, BC. The author Anayad Dashgard will be joining equity leader Suzanne Hawkes. They're going to have a conversation and then a book launch. And the new book is called The Bones of Belonging, Finding Wholeness in a White World. So that is a free event to be at the book launch. So, but you do have to register just so they know how many people are coming. So if you're interested, I'm just going to put the registration page in the chat. And again, that's a free event this Thursday, if you're interested. And then my final announcement is the annual Multi-Faith Action Society calendar has just come out. So this is the one for 2024. And I have a little promo video that they put together. So I'm going to share that now. So let me just do this. And if you can hear the sound, then give me a thumbs up, just so I'm confident that you all can hear it. Great, thank you. So yes, if you are interested in either getting a calendar, you can put that in the chat or message me or write to the organization and we'll make sure to mail you one. Or if you want to submit any artwork. I know I was on the Multi-Faith Action Society Council for a few years. We get a ton of submissions. It's actually so amazing. I feel bad as someone who still draws stick figures, trying to like figure out of these literally like 1,200 submissions, how to pick 25. Felt like, gosh, I'm not the right person to be doing this. So like, who am I to say this isn't good enough for this year's calendar? It's really fun and really beautiful. So if you'd like to submit any artwork or get a calendar, then let us know. So that's great. So those are my announcements. Does anybody else have any announcements they'd like to share now?
I've got a couple things I want to share. This is a great segue after just watching that video, but after next our next sanctuary gathering on the 2nd of December. If anybody would like to stay after, the council and Kathy and Rachel are going to be going through that calendar in anticipation and planning for the 2024 Living Interfaith Sanctuary services, which is something we do every year, is that we go through the calendar and just kind of look at trying to get a good selection from different faith traditions and ideas. So if anybody would like to be part of that, that's going to happen next weekend. So, I mean, not next week, the next session of our gathering. So the 2nd of December. So get your calendar, have it ready. And if you want to be part of it, you're welcome to join us. And on that note, also, as we plan 2024, I just want to share that after 5+ years of service, Kathy is going to take a bit of a break. She's taking a sabbatical for January, February, and March, a well-deserved break after her tireless service to us all this time. And so what during that time is going to happen is that the council and myself, and with Rachel, of course, leading the way with most of that, are going to step in and take on some of these roles in terms of welcoming and prayers and candlelighting the joint affirmation, introduction of our guests. And so we want to also invite any members from our congregation, from our community, that might want to take on a role in some of those pieces. So if anybody has an interest in reading a prayer, of leading affirmation along through that, please reach out and let Kathy, Rachel, myself know. We would love to include you and encourage participation from our community in that time, as we hold ourselves together, Kathy's absence, and also see what's possible and potential coming out of that. More members taking on more active roles if there is an interest in that. So that's my invitation to you as well. So December 2nd, a calendar formation for 2024, and also if anybody's interested in joining, participation in a more visible way. So thank you. That's all I have.
That's great. Thank you so much, Dorlee. Any other announcements? All right. So let's come into silence and we'll start our prayers, friends. So our opening prayer this morning is from Abdu'l-Bahá, and this is read at his shrine. God is the all-glorious. O God, my God, lowly and tearful, I raise my suppliant hands to thee and cover my face in the dust of that threshold of thine, exalted above the knowledge of the learned and the praise of all that glorify thee. Graciously look upon thy servant, humble and lowly at thy door, with the glances of the eye of thy mercy, and immerse me in the ocean of thine eternal grace. Lord, I'm a low and lowly servant of thine, enthralled and employing thee, captive in thy hand, praying fervently to thee, trusting in thee, in tears before thy face, calling to thee and beseeching thee, saying, O Lord my God, give me thy grace to serve thy loved ones. Strengthen me and my servitude to thee. Illumine my brow with the light of adoration in thy court of holiness and of prayer to thy kingdom of grandeur. Help me to be selfless at the heavenly entrance of thy gate, and aid me to be detached from all things within thy holy precincts. Lord, give me to drink from the chalice of selflessness. With its robe, clothe me, and in its ocean immerse me. Make me as dust in the pathway of thy loved ones, and grant that I may offer up my soul for the earth ennobled by the footsteps of thy chosen ones in thy path. O Lord of glory is the highest. With this prayer does thy servant call thee, at dawn tide and in the night season. Fulfill your servant's heart's desire, O Lord. Illumine my heart, gladden my bosom, kindle my light, that I may serve thy cause and thy servants. Thou art the bestower, the pitiful, the most bountiful, the gracious, the merciful, the compassionate. And now Dorlee has a candle lighting prayer for us.
A prayer from Abdu'l-Bahá. O Lord, grant me a measure of thy grace and loving kindness, thy care and protection, thy shelter and bounty. that the end of my days may be distinguished above their beginning, and the close of my life may open the portals to thy manifold blessings. May thy loving kindness and bounty descend upon me at every moment, and thy forgiveness and mercy be vouchsafed with every breath, until beneath the sheltering shadow of thine upraised standard, I may at last repair to the kingdom of the all-praised. Thou art the bestower and the ever-loving, and thou art verily the Lord of grace and bounty. Abdu'l-Bahá.
Thank you. And now we can offer one another a sign of peace. So peace, everyone. So wonderful to be with you this morning.
Peace unto all.
Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Allahu Abha.
Hello, Abba.
Peace, everyone.
Peace be with you.
Comfort and sound. Comfort and peace in your hearts.
Thank you. And when you're ready, Bruce and Cheryl have another song for us. It was so beautiful. Thank you. Now we can do our joint affirmation. Who would like to lead it this time? If you'd like to lead it, just unmute yourself and feel free to start reading.
I can say it.
Great. Thanks, Samir.
We come together in peace. We sing together in joy and with love. We worship together in one house, a house with names beyond number. Our paths are many, our beliefs are as leaves, and the tree that we cleave to is nourished by the light of compassion, justice, and mutual respect. May our lives, our beliefs, and our actions help to bring about the world of love we all seek, and let it begin here.
Beautiful. Thank you. So now is when we usually pray in our own homes and in our own ways. I know lots of us are just feeling really helpless in the face of war, war in the Middle East, war in Ukraine, war in Yemen, in Ethiopia. This is such a difficult time. Usually I just open this up to the group for us to pray as we'd like. However, there's a prayer that I found and modified slightly about the war right now between Hamas and Israel. And I'd like to share it now. I think it really speaks to what we're trying to do here in understanding all different perspectives. So let me share this prayer. This is based on a prayer from Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt, which was sadly written about 12 years ago, about a different time in the fighting in Israel and Palestine. But so I've updated it to make it fit the current situation more. For every aspiring ballerina huddled scared in a basement bomb shelter. For every toddler in his mother's arms behind rubble of concrete and rebar. For every child who's learned to distinguish our bombs from their bombs by sound. For every wounded, cowering, frightened, and everyone furious, planning for vengeance. For the ones who fire missiles where there are grandmothers and infants, and the ones who send rockets towards children on school playgrounds. For every official who sees an attack on Gaza as a matter of just cutting the grass, and every official who approves launching projectiles from behind preschools or prayer places. For every kid taught to use weapons with pride, and every kid sickened by the explosions. For every teenager who considers annihilating the enemy to be the best hope for a future. May the God of compassion and the God of mercy, the God of justice and the God of forgiveness, the God who shaped creation in her tender womb and who nurses us each day with blessing, the God who suffers the anxiety and pain of each of his unique children, God who yearns for us to take up the work of perfecting creation, God who's reflected in those who fight and in those who bandage the bleeding. May our mother, father, beloved creator, cradle every hurting heart and caring hands. May we soon hear in the cities of Gaza and in the olive groves of the West Bank, in the hills of Judah, in the streets of Jerusalem, in the neighborhoods of Nablus, and in the kibbutz fields of the Negev, the voice of fighters who've traded weapons for books and plows and bread ovens, the voice of children on swings and on slides, singing nonsense songs, unafraid, the voice of reconciliation and peace and new beginnings in our day, speedily and soon. And let us say, Amen. And when you're ready, Bruce and Cheryl have another song.
We'll start with the refrain for this song, Look at Me. Look at me, follow me, be as I am, Abdu'l-Bahá, Abdu'l-Bahá. Sing it again. Look at me, follow me, be as I Here's a verse. Behold a candle, how it gives its light. It weeps its life away, drop by drop to give its flame. You must die to the world, and so be enter to the kingdom of heaven. Look at me, follow me, be as I am, Abdu'l-Bahá, Abdu'l-Bahá. Sing it again. Look at me, follow me, be as I am, Abdu'l-Bahá, Abdu'l-Bahá. Another verse. You are the angels. If your feet be firm, be steadfast as a rock, that no earthly storm can move. And as you have faith, so shall your powers be. And know that till the end, I'm always with you. Look at me, follow me, be as I am, Abdu'l-Bahá, Abdu'l-Bahá. Look at me, follow me, be as I am, Abdu'l-Bahá, Abdu'l-Bahá. Look at me, follow me, be as I am, Abdu'l-Bahá,
That was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Pearson Cheryl. And now I just want to thank all of you who donate towards the sanctuary. Many of you donate so much here. I am going to put our donation page in the chat. And I know lots of you donate monthly or whenever you are able to attend. And we're just so grateful for what you do. All your donations go to support myself and Rachel, our fantastic managing director, who does most of the things, and Bruce and Cheryl. And luckily, because we don't have a building and we meet this way, we have very minor expenses. So it's just going to support our work here. And also we donate towards other causes when we can. So as they come to us and as people say, you know, this thing is happening, it's very important, we try to send some money to those causes as well. So thank you for all that you bring into this community. And now I think Bruce and Cheryl have another song for us.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Beautiful. Thank you. And now it is my pleasure and honor to turn it over to Deloria Bighorn. Deloria is a retired school counselor. She also worked at the Maxwell International Baha'i School and Pearson College. She's a member of the Yankton Sioux Tribe and serves as president of the board of directors for the Friendship Center in Duncan. She's a former member of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Bahá'ís of Canada, which is the governing body of the faith in Canada. And she served that institution for 14 years, 10 as the chair. And she's also a mother of 3 and grandmother of 11 grandchildren. So lots of joy and craziness in your household, I'm sure. So when you're ready, over to you, Deloria.
Thank you so much for your invitation to be here. And I would say good morning to everyone. I am joining you from the beautiful homelands of the Cowichan people on Vancouver Island. And as I was preparing for this morning, I thought to myself, what a really precious opportunity to be with people who are so open-hearted and open-minded and are curious and are wanting to learn more about other people and their beliefs. And you probably appreciate how much of a challenge it is to describe the unique and priceless personages of these of the people of our different faiths who we cherish. And but it's these great teachers that really draw us and attract us through their overwhelming love. So when I was thinking about that, then I thought about this story. My daughter was teaching children's classes in her neighborhood in East Van, and children are so pure-hearted. They recognize when truth rings, when they hear the bell of truth, when they hear the sincerity, when they recognize deeds of sacrifice and of love and so forth. They're just drawn to that. So they had been learning about Abdu'l-Bahá, and they had been learning, songs like one of the songs we just heard, actually, and so forth, and all of his stories about his service to humanity and so forth. So my daughter was walking the kids back to their housing, and she was hearing this one young boy kind of walking behind her, and he was musing to himself. He was saying, Abdu'l-Bahá, Abdu'l-Bahá. I think I'll name my son Abdu'l-Bahá. She got a big kick out of that. Anyways, today my mission is to describe a glimmer of the significance of the life of Abdu'l-Bahá. And I felt so honored at the effort that was made to find prayers of his, to find a song. Anyways, it was very touching. He is the son of the prophet, founder of the Baha'i faith, Bahá'u'lláh. He's often referred to as the Master, which was a title given to him by his beloved father. And we're drawn to Abdu'l-Bahá as an example, the perfect example of how to live our lives. He was a unique figure in human and religious history, and that perfect example in word and deed of everything that his father, Baha'u'lláh, taught. Abdu'l-Bahá, as a child of 8, had recognized his father's station as the manifestation of God for this day, and asked to sacrifice his life for that of his father. Well, in fact, he then shared for the rest of his life imprisonment, exile, deprivation, sorrow, which was directed towards his father and his revelation. To study a man's life is to live in his presence through his words and the words of those who saw him and have thought about him, and especially to see him in the lives of those he has influenced. After the passing of Baha'u'lláh in 1892, Abdu'l-Bahá continued to be imprisoned until 1908. Then, for the first time since the inception of the Baha'i faith, the now head and supreme representative, who was Abdu'l-Bahá, was set free. Having been released from this long captivity, really his whole life, at age 64, he arose with sublime courage, confidence, and resolution to consecrate what little strength remained to him in the evening of his life to service of heroic proportions. After this lifetime of persecution and imprisonment for his religious beliefs, which I think we're all gathered here to strive to dispel the kind of ignorance that keeps that persecution for religious purposes that will eliminate that kind of thing. And I feel that purpose here. Abdu'l-Bahá embarked in 1911 from the Holy Land to an extended trip to share his father's message in Egypt, Europe, and North America, including 9 days in Canada. Imagine, although he had never given a public talk prior to this time, during his 239 days in North America, he delivered up to 4 talks a day, about 400 in total, to approximately 93,000 people. He traveled the breadth of North America, and his talks illuminated Baha'u'llah's message of the oneness of humanity and the principles of universal peace. For example, one day the master spoke with infinite sadness after hearing of a tragic battle happening at the time. "I'm not happy this morning," he said. "I am full of sadness. The news which the paper brought us was such as must fill one with anguish. Animals fight, and when they fight, it is for a cause, an end to be gained. The earth is the first and lowest of terrestrial things created by the divine will, and it is our tomb, our sepulcher, our cemetery, our death, not our life. And these individuals are fighting not for liberty or an ideal, but for ground, for the place of death, not life. You are a people banded together to increase friendship among nations and races and brotherhood amongst people. So now, while these men are creating death, you think life. While they are guilty of cruelty, you think tenderness. While they make destruction, you think construction. While they create war, you think peace." Then he went on to say, "I charge you all that each one of you concentrate all the thoughts of your heart on love and unity. When a thought of war comes, oppose it by a stronger thought of peace. A thought of hatred must be destroyed by a more powerful thought of love. Thoughts of war bring destruction to all harmony, well-being, restfulness, and content." The love Abdu'l-Bahá taught throughout his life is nothing else than the service embodied in his name. His name is translated as servant of Bahá, servant of the glory. He said, "He who serves mankind has already entered the kingdom and is seated at the right hand of his Lord." His was such an uplifting love that it was felt by each who met him as being especially for them, just as one appropriates his own place in the sun. So then there's a story about an individual who met Abdu'l-Bahá and was taken into his presence and felt that overwhelming love, and felt that at last he was at home. I'm going to just kind of pass by a few of these stories because I think we're a little shy on time. Abdu'l-Bahá sincerely wanted each person he met to be happy, no matter who they were, as you can see from the following story. This was when he was in England, he was traveling through England. 2 ladies from Scotland made a special trip to England in order to have time with him. Having come straight from the train and being about to return the same night, every moment was precious to them. The master received them with his warm, simple welcome, and they felt elated at the prospect of such a wonderful evening. Not more than half an hour passed when a reporter pushed himself into the gathering with the intention of getting some talking points for an article about Abdu'l-Bahá he was writing for some newspaper. He talked without pause in a far from polite manner. The ladies were speechless and aghast at this intrusion. Presently, Abdu'l-Bahá arose and, making a sign to the man to follow him, went to his own private room. Time passed, and the hostess sent a message to Abdu'l-Bahá's secretary, asking if he would kindly say to Abdu'l-Bahá that the ladies were awaiting his pleasure. Soon they heard the sounds of the guest receiving a kind farewell at the door, and the beloved master returned. Pausing near the door, he looked at each of the ladies in turn with a look of deep, grave meaning. You were making that poor man uncomfortable, so strongly desiring his absence. I took him away to make him feel happy. Truly, Abdu'l-Bahá's thoughts and ways were far removed from ours. In our current world, we see meaning being sought in empty pastimes and selfish motives sometimes, demonstrating a lack of understanding of who we are as creatures made in the likeness of the Creator. Abdu'l-Bahá asserts that the manifestations of God guide us to our true selves, thus giving us meaning and protecting us from hopelessness. And then, as you heard from the prayer earlier in the service, Abdu'l-Bahá turns to the Creator, asking that his actions be turned to that light so that he would be freed from the confines of this world and find joy in service to humanity. In another story, Abdu'l-Bahá shared how he led the faith, considering that that it was a very difficult matter for him to guide the faith that was beginning to grow worldwide. And he shared a story about how he would guide the course of the faith like he was sailing a ship, and he would fasten the ropes tight and pull the sails, locate his destination, and then persevere, no matter how strong the storm, no matter how dangerous the threat to the safety of the ship. I do not change course. I do not become agitated or disheartened. I persevere until I reach my goal. If I were to hesitate or change direction at the sight of every danger, the ark of the cause of God would surely fail to reach its destination. Abdu'l-Bahá was able to inspire the same strength in many of the Baha'is, especially those who faced discrimination. He said, there is a need of a superior power to overcome human prejudices, a power which nothing in the world of mankind can withstand, and which will overshadow the effect of all other forces at work in human conditions. That irresistible power is the love of God. So then there's a story about Abdu'l-Bahá being invited to a fancy luncheon in Washington, D.C. And just before the luncheon, maybe a half an hour or so before, he asked a man named Louis Gregory to come and be his guest so that he could talk with him and visit with him. And Louis Gregory was a very highly educated African-American lawyer. And so Louis came to visit Abdu'l-Bahá before this luncheon, fully expecting to leave as soon as the luncheon started, because in those days, of course, there was not that integration. There wasn't that freedom for people to sit down and have a meal together. So they called for lunch. Abdu'l-Bahá led the way, and all followed him into the dining room except Louis. All were seated when suddenly Abdu'l-Bahá stood up, looked around, and then said to one of the friends, "Where is Mr. Gregory? Bring Mr. Gregory." There was nothing for that friend to do but find Mr. Gregory, who fortunately had not left the house, but was quietly waiting for a chance to do so. And he came into the room. Abdu'l-Bahá, who was really the host, as he was wherever he was, had by this time rearranged the place settings and made room for Mr. Gregory, giving him the seat of honor at his right. He stated he was very pleased to have Mr. Gregory there. And then, in the most natural way, as if nothing unusual had happened, proceeded to give a talk on the oneness of mankind. Abdu'l-Bahá impressed on Louis Gregory the importance of the unity of those of Black and white heritage, not just place cards to be moved around, but in every action, great or small. And Louis always wielded the irresistible power of the love of God. Abdu'l-Bahá returned to the Holy Land in 1913 and continued his life of service until his passing on November 28th, 1921, at age 77. So, friends, I had much more prepared, but I see that sometimes the best thing to do is to stop on time. So thank you very much for inviting me to be with you and for being able to share a bit of my heart, which is full of the love of Abdu'l-Bahá. And I thank you for demonstrating such honor and respect. I think that is what really unites us and binds our hearts together when we feel that mutual respect and love. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. It was so beautiful, Deloria. Thank you. And it's okay. We usually go a little bit past 11 because we try to make sure that there's time for folks who want to share during the sharing of the hearts. But now Bruce and Cheryl have one more song for us, and I'll do the closing prayer. And then do you have time to stay just a little bit afterwards if anyone has any questions? Okay, perfect. So when you're ready, Bruce and Cheryl. Beautiful. What a great choice, Bruce and Cheryl. Thank you so much. Friends, this was wonderful. Thank you so much, Deloria, for joining us and sharing about the inspiring, really beautiful life of Abdu'l-Bahá. As we go forward, let's learn these lessons from him of how we can come together, how we can seek unity, how we can better respect one another, and just trust that Spirit will be with us, even if we're faced with challenges we've never had before. That Spirit will be with us and give us the words and the actions that we need when we need them. So thank you so much, and let's go forward and honor Abdu'l-Bahá in this way. Amen.